Rebecca, they got rid of the lay flat seats from Seattle to Boston, and I didn't know that last night until I got to the airport.
Oh my God, like such first world problem, but actually it isn't, because if you've worked as hard as you worked yesterday and you're getting on a flight to go home to work the next day, you need to sleep on a bed, and then they tell you there's no beds. I might have maybe gone on strike. I don't know.
No,
there
was part of me that wanted to be the naked guy that got off the airplane and tried to like cause a havoc and be like, oh, I'm sorry guys, couldn't do the podcast. And then you read the news that I was naked on a plane in Seattle. Couldn't fly home.
What did I miss?
Number one, you missed an amazing joke about English people's teeth, which I'm not quite sure it's going to make the edit.
Theo, she asked me, why do Americans believe that our dentists are better than the English dentists? And I said, because every Englishman can chew an apple through a tennis racket.
It's good.
I don't even like apples. I don't even like apples.
That's the line that should have been.
That's why my teeth are...
And number two, you missed that Taylor just worked his backside off yesterday, got on his flight from Seattle to Boston for the red-eye flight, thinking he was to have a nice little kip on his flat bed, only for the airline to say, oh, we've taken the beds out. He just got a nice little sit-up 90-degree flight all the way home.
This is how I slept for 94 minutes, according to my watch.
Brilliant. Oh, how's the old spine this morning? That makes me feel... Okay, we're going to get straight into it, guys.
I woke up this morning and my son's wearing a Liverpool kit.
He's not.
In the morning. No, he's wearing a Liverpool kit.
You're being trolled by your own kid.
He's 8.
You just put it on Instagram, say you want to go, and it's basically going to happen.
It's curtains. I generally do feel like, I'm not just saying that, it's curtains for the league.
Nobody's in love with Arsenal because of their defensive foundation. That's where this is really a struggle for people to look at.
What do we do? What are we doing? It was so depressing.
We thought VAR was going to fix things. It's made it more complicated.
They got a hard job.
Oh, stop it, Theo. They're professionals.
There it is. Sorry.
And in the blink of an eye, you've got a full-on brawl. This could be the last competitive game for Luis Suarez.
All right, chaps, only one place to start this morning. And by the way, massive caveat at the top of this show. We are recording, and I think there's just 2 more hours left in the transfer window in England. So if there's some breaking news during this, I'll throw it in. But this is a caveat that things might change when you guys at home listen to this. But as of now, the biggest story, Taylor Twellman, is that Liverpool have arguably had, I'm not even sure we should use the word arguably, the greatest transfer window in history, because they have just added to who already was there: Florian Wirtz, Ugo Ekitike, Milos Kerkez, Jeremy Frimpong, Georgi Mamadashvili, which became permanent, Giovanni Leone and Armin Pesky. They've just added British record Alexander Isak. What are your thoughts now? Are we done here? I feel like the season's done.
I have no words. Taylor, I last week I said Isak will happen. And it's great for the neutral to see Isak playing football. We want to see him play football, of course we do, and have that. However, it's really like a cheat code for Liverpool now, having someone like him up front. Because being at the game yesterday, Ekitike has got a presence, but a bit of immaturity at times. And I feel to have someone at his... To be able to learn from someone like him now, Isak, who's just obviously tested in the Premier League and just probably the best striker in world football at the moment in time, and potentially could go on to be the best striker. It's curtains. I generally do feel like, I'm not just saying that, I did say this before, if they sign Isak, it's curtains for the league, because he just operates in a different way. Incredible. Liverpool, their firepower now, it's outstanding. And yeah, they've had the best transfer. I thought Arsenal had a really good transfer window. I really did.
Yeah, that podcast feels like 3 years ago, by the way, when we talked about that.
It does.
Well, this is why as well it was a huge missed opportunity for Arsenal yesterday, and you were there, Theo. We'll get to that in a minute. But Taylor, I mean, Arsenal's transfer window, just for anybody at home, Eza Zubamendi, Gyökeres, Madueke, Norgard, Kepa, Mosquera, who came on yesterday for his debut. But
did really well.
Is it curtains? He did do well. First 5 minutes, I think he looked incredibly nervous, but fair enough. But then he did do well, you're right. But curtains for the league, says Theo Walcott.
No, I don't, just because I love the league and I love the excitement it brings. And even the first weekend, I'm texting you, Rebecca, and there's still always surprises. Into the second weekend, Manchester City's lost 2 of their first 3 games. I don't think any of us would have predicted that. In saying that, though, you tell me, Rebecca, and you tell me, Theo, because this is your expertise. When was the last time we were talking about Liverpool doing this. This is the exact reason or only complaint Liverpool and Anfield supporters have had for years. If only we could spend money like City and Chelsea and Tottenham even at times.
Yeah, I mean, look, it's really changing the dynamic football now, the money scale and everything involved. And it's just more on the fact, when you win the league, how can we go that one more now? What can we do to now improve the squad to how good it actually already is already? And that's a sign of a team who ain't ever going to stand still. And as well, Arsenal spent over 300 million.
Exactly.
So in their eyes, I think we've done something this isn't normal as well. And we still can't get results we need in the big games. In the big games is where the difference happens when you spend this amount of money on certain players, because they're meant to stand out. For me, Wirtz was very quiet. I still feel like there's a lot improvement to see in his side of the game.
Absolutely.
But you allow that. You need that sort of easing in period for these guys, but outstanding.
And actually, Theo, it might help Wirtz that he's no longer the British record transfer fee holder. It's actually Isak, and maybe that just slightly, and just having Isak walk through the door this morning might just help Florian Wirtz not be that main guy that everybody's talking about as the record breaker. As part of all this, we have to talk about Newcastle trying to replace Isak. Taylor, they're getting in Johan Wissa. Finally, that's been done. You just put it on Instagram, say you want to go, and it's basically going to happen. So Johan Wissa, and then they've got Nick Woltermade as well, who is 6'6", apparently a number 10 in a number 9's body. Do you think Woltermade and Johan Wissa is going to be enough cover for Isak for Newcastle?
Part of me thinks yes, because it's not being relied upon. When you see the British record sale, and then if you just replace that player with one, I think there's too much pressure on the one. Wissa's got 49 goals and roughly 150 appearances, so he's a known quantity. And Woltermade is an interesting one. He's the German number 9, basically, and this is a guy that scored 17 goals. He helped Stuttgart win their first trophy, if I'm not mistaken, in 18 years. I love the way you put that, because he is 6'5", 6'6", and yet he wants to dribble and connect with players and not be the powerful striker that I think a lot of us think in order to be successful in the Premier League you need to be. But Woltermade is not being asked to come in here and score 40 goals this season. So I like it. I think Eddie Howe has got to be breathing a little bit lighter, knowing that there's a couple replacements coming in here. He's made it known that he stopped talking to Isak for the last 2 weeks. So you always want players that want to be there. And when it becomes a little bit of an argument into a headache, into a divorce, you want to get that player out as soon as possible. I do think if you asked Eddie Howe off the record with a little truth serum, he would have loved Isak to be fully engaged and still within Newcastle United. I don't think he would ever deny that, but that's not the case. And I think Wissa and Woltermade collectively could lighten the load a little bit of Isak's departure.
You look at Isak, because I always felt like he could operate anywhere in that front line, and having someone like Woltermade who can really have the connections with the wingers, because, I mean, games are won by wingers.
Yes.
They just said nobody.
Said nobody.
That's what he says, yeah.
Well, because they do things out of the ordinary. They take risks. In some cases, other clubs more risks than others, which we don't want to go on to as per yet. However, saying that, I just think the balance Newcastle have now, like Taylor's saying there, with the dynamic of Isak gone, it's just going to free him up. They've been playing a little bit too...
I think they'll be fine, Rebecca.
Newcastle.
I think they'll be fine. Yeah. I think Theo and I would say they'll be fine.
Yeah.
But can I just finish this transfer chat with just how silly it is that the transfer window ends 3 games into a season, because we've had a mini season. I can't stand it either. And now we're going to all reset again and start the season again. And Newcastle are already miles off the pace because of what's happened. I know it's partly their fault, but give the club some help. Shut it the night before or 5 days before the beginning of the season, and we wouldn't have ridiculousness taking over the first 3 weeks of the season, which, by the way, is actually really unfair, because, as an example, Palace had everybody, and now they're going to have to play people. Now they're going to have to play teams, for example, and they haven't got Ezra, and that's an advantage to the people they're playing, the team they're playing. So that's just one example, let alone Liverpool. I mean, good luck trying to play Liverpool. Anyone who's played Liverpool is absolutely delighted. Even if they've lost, they're just delighted. It was only 4-2 that they conceded, like Bournemouth. So that's ridiculous. Okay, Liverpool against Arsenal. Taylor, I know you'll have watched it. Theo was there, and we were showing it live, of course, on NBC as well. We'll get to Arsenal, Theo. I'll start with Taylor on this one. I want to ask you, how hard is a 32-yard free kick to put in like Dominik Szoboszlai put that in? How difficult is that? Tell us, because 99% of people or more listening to this have no idea how you do that.
Well, the 99% more that are wondering what I would think about it is there's a reason why I didn't do that either. Unless it was a diving header, I wasn't taking the free kick. So quite honestly, I'm as amazed as you are. But it's not even his best free kick, by the way. He scored a free kick almost similar distance for Hungary, if I'm not mistaken, in a European qualifier. So go on YouTube and watch that. It's even better than that one. For him to get and I thought John Champion was brilliant on NBC. For him to get the ball to dance with that pace, that's where that's where we just sit here and we marvel at someone being able to do that. Thank God that ball hit the back of the net, because that was one of the most boring games I've watched in a long time. The lowest expected goals of any Premier League game in the last 3 years. And I'm not real big into analytics, but Rebecca and Theo, that gives you a good indication. That was a bore. That game was a total bore. And Theo's going to hit the head on why that was, probably with Arsenal. But for me, to score a goal like that, it then goes back to our conversation last week. They are just finding a way to win games. And if you ask any manager or any player, Rebecca, and you ask what the extra 5% is, we're witnessing it with Liverpool right now. You can't really quantify it. You don't really know how to put your finger on it. You don't know what you're seeing, but you're seeing a 16-year-old score a goal in extra time to win a game. You're seeing a midfielder play right back and arguably be the best player on the pitch and then score a wonderful goal. And I saw David Beckham last night for League's Cup final with Inter Miami in Seattle. And we talked about the free kick because there's someone that did that. They are finding ways to win games that arguably they shouldn't have. And that's the 5% that nobody in the world can quantify and find it. And that's the 5% that champions have. Theo, I don't know if you agree with me, but there's something about this Liverpool team. And I hate bringing it up, but follow me on this real quick. Jota's death may have brought this group even closer in playing for something even bigger than themselves or the club, that they're going to do anything and everything they can to find the little bit of special 5%, and they're going to win games because they're not playing their best and they're still 9 points. Even with
like you're saying there, Taylor, with the Diego Jota, how that feeds into all the players. You look at Brighton, James Milner scoring in the celebration, and the Liverpool players seeing this, how much it means to not just James Milner, because he's a really big part of his success at Liverpool, but the whole football world. It's a constant reminder. It's always going to be with people, and he's always with Liverpool on that pitch. Yep. Szoboszlai was incredible, but the reason why he was incredible, he wasn't tested at all.
No,
you've got a centre mid player at fullback. For me, that's music to my ears. It's music to my ears. But not at one point did Martinelli do his strengths. He overthought things. Not once. The difference, Madueke on that side, he was just playing with instinct. He played to his strength. He didn't overthink things. And that's one thing with wingers they do too often now. If you overthink things as a winger, you mess up. I've been there. I've been a player that just remember your strengths. It's such a simple tool, but it's going back to Rebecca, we're saying about the differences in Arsenal and Liverpool, where they are kind of allowed to express themselves in different sides of the pitch. It's off the cuff. And when you have some players that will just create that little bit of magic, Arsenal have those players. I just feel at moments in games they're restricted to enhance their ability. That's the problem. That's the dynamic they get at the moment in time. For me, Arsenal, last night at the game, I mean, even Szoboszlai said it was, there was nothing in the game as, even this free kick. He said he didn't practice the free kick. That one. I know. That particular free kick, he said he didn't practice. Imagine if he practices. Incredible. But just, look, I know you want to talk about Arsenal. Just to put salt into the wounds, I woke up this morning. I got back late last night. Not as late as you, Taylor, to be honest. Apologies on that. And my son's wearing a Liverpool kit.
He's not.
In the morning. No, he's wearing Liverpool kit.
You're being trolled by your own kid.
He's 8.
That's unbelievable.
He's got a Liverpool kit on.
He's my favorite 8-year-old besides my daughter in this world, Rebecca. I knew there was a Walcott in that house that followed my lead on banter.
Couldn't believe it. He's like, you all right, Dad? All right, morning, mate. That shirt, yeah, it's a bit
casual
too
trolling
soon.
as well.
Too soon.
Yeah, about a year too soon. Okay, so let's talk about Arsenal because it felt going into this game, Theo, that this was the moment. This was a time they were going to step up. They hadn't won at Anfield since 2012 when actually Mikel Arteta was in the team. This is a time to make hay while the sun shines with Liverpool's shaky, leaky back line and Konate being off it, although Konate was brilliant. And they didn't express themselves and they didn't go for it. And afterwards, Peter Schmeichel's quotes came out, which were quite interesting. He said, "I've never in my life ever wanted a team to win a game of football more than Liverpool today. Arsenal bring an ugly brand of football to our game." And he went on to talk about letting the handbrake off. And this has been accused, or this has been thrown at Mikel Arteta a number of times. And you've basically just said it there, Theo. They are not allowed to be off the cuff. They are not allowed to express themselves. There was one moment in the second half, I think it actually was when they were 1-0 down, and one of the players, I can't remember who it was trying to go forward, and then they ended up turning around and it was like the whole horseshoe football thing again, and you just wanted to tear your hair out. It has to fall on Arteta, doesn't it?
Well, it worked at Man United, so maybe Schmeichel's a bit sour from that result, because there is times when it works. I will say this.
Yeah, but they didn't play expressively at Man United with loads of amazing football. But the plan is those games is to stay in the game. And this is the dynamic, and I feel Mikel Arteta's in at this moment in time. He's now got equipped. The club have really backed him, the investment in the club, and now he's got options everywhere. But he likes to go back to we need to stay in the game. And I play with managers, Arsene at times, when you're winning games, you're like, just bring on another forward, because this is whether you can really score more goals, because people are out of position, they're desperate. Put them away. And managers are too comfortable, they're afraid of losing. And this is the problem, because now he's lost, everyone's going to look at it this way and think, look, they weren't adventurous, they didn't play with that freedom. And look, it was working up to a certain point. But this is where, for me, you have the substitution. You bring him a little bit earlier. Eze did so much more he did with the 2 touches than Martinelli did. You sign a player for...
Yes.
Well, I'm a big believer, and I said it a couple of weeks ago about Jack Grealish coming to team. The first game he leads, he's on the bench. Play them straight away, because I always feel like it's important to start well. You can win the game in the first 20 minutes, but you can also lose it. They didn't want to lose the game full stop. You could tell by Marino's only played 20 minutes in 2 Premier League games this year. And he's a good player, and he's a player that will do a job. However, you have players who are game changers in moments where they haven't had. You have the game changers now. You need to not let them overthink, because they get into positions and they're quite. I noticed it yesterday when you're saying about the situation when the balls could be into space, or they could maybe go at a player, but they're too fixated at getting back into their position. No, I'm out of position now. Roy was saying about being robotic.
Enough. Yes, exactly. Arteta doesn't want it. Arteta doesn't believe in them enough to allow them to go and do that, Theo. He doesn't, otherwise he would say, go and do that.
And I understand it's frustrating for players and for fans particularly, because they travel all that way and they want to see these guys really entertain them, because essentially it's an entertained sport and you want to be entertained.
Yeah.
I was at my worst when I overthought. I said this before. Like, they just have to go away from this, and to kind of start again and just think, do you know what? We don't need to overcomplicate in the final third. Arsene Wenger was the best at it. He always wouldn't overcomplicate things. He would always say, you want to get the best players in their positions to really isolate the opposition where you're going to be most effective. And it worked for him. He didn't. I get the frustration.
I'm okay with the set pieces. Honestly, Rebecca, I'm okay with set pieces, and I'm okay with having this real good defensive foundation. But that's the foundation of the house. Nobody's in love with Arsenal because of their defensive foundation. That's where this is really a struggle for people to look at. The first 45 minutes, say 55, and you see the 3 in the midfield that, quite honestly, gave Liverpool a little bit of a struggle with their athleticism and the ability to get about, but there was 0.0 creativity, and then Ødegaard comes in, all of a sudden then it's opened up and it asks the question, why can't you have a little bit of both? That's all I'm saying from the outside. It looks like they're going in saying, we are going to kill the game, frustrate the opponent, check. and then hope for a set piece. That's not why you went out and spent $300 million.
I know as a forward that we have to score to get a result at Liverpool. You have to score because they will always score, particularly going towards the Kop end. And the difference in the second half, they brought on Curtis Jones. He was at it and they were man to man. They were on everyone. The dynamic completely changed. You're never going to win and you have to score at Anfield to win a game or to get a result in general because they score. I mean, I don't know the stats off the top of my head. The last time Liverpool haven't scored at Anfield, but I'm telling you what, they score most weekends. So,
they've
Arsenal need to start unlocking it.
They're now on the longest scoring record in their history as a club. So they're always going to score, like you said. So you've got to go and score, Arsenal. You've got to do it, and you didn't. And you didn't even really look like it because nobody was feeding Victor Gyökeres, which is a whole nother situation. But you've got Eze, so everything's going to be fine. Very quickly, VAR. I know that's like that. Those two things are in the same sentence don't really work. But what I wanted to say to you guys was, have either of you got any ideas? Because the problem this weekend at the Chelsea-Fulham game, where Rodrigo Muniz came down on top of the foot of Trevor Chalobah, which was quote-unquote a careless challenge. It wasn't even a challenge. He was quite literally just like doing a football skill, had to put his foot down somewhere. The goal for lovely little Josh King, who, by the way, afterwards was so incredibly philosophical about it. He's 18. He was so sweet, but that was denied. And then, of course, the whole game changed direction. Taylor, if you could be a little short on this for me, I'd appreciate it.
I honestly have no idea about VAR because my opinion of VAR was this. Wasn't that implemented in our game around the world to fix bad calls? That's all I thought it was. To get a second nibble at the apple to make sure we get calls correctly. And for the life of me, now VAR feels like retro reffing, going back and re-reffing the game. Now you've completely changed the game because the game was 11 on one side, 11 on the other, 2 assistant refs, and then a referee in the middle of the field, in the middle of the pitch. That's what it was. That's what it was. And we thought VAR was going to fix things. It's made it more complicated. You guys over there, and not you, Rebecca, not you, Theo, but the English Premier League have made a mockery of what VAR is for offside.
Yeah.
Offside,
Agreed.
it's made a mockery of it. Agreed. You need a protractor and a compass to now play a football game, which is ridiculous. But this retro refereeing, Rebecca, I don't know how to have a comment other than you've made it worse. Because that goal was beautiful in the moment. Anyone that's played the game, anyone that's watched the game, anyone that's enjoyed the game before VAR would have said, good goal, let's go. No,
because I
VAR
don't even
comes
think,
back and
Theo,
says, not a goal.
Yeah.
I don't even think that it's about playing the game. Like Taylor says, anyone who just watches football, I mean, I've never played football, but I know that wasn't a careless challenge, Theo. What do we do? What are we doing? It was so depressing.
Do you know, it's very difficult because I always feel referees don't actually want to be seen at all. Now we know all the referees' names. We know all the referees. We know who's there and about. And they don't want to be known. They don't, because when I was playing, there'd be a referee and I'd be like, I don't even know his name. And you don't, and you kind of, no disrespect to them, but they want to be in the background. They don't want to be now announcing calls and stuff. They just want to do their job.
I know. Right,
no problems. But now I feel like they need to, for the entertainment value as well. But I mean, if you put ex-players into the VAR, I know it's spoke about on numerous occasions, but that's difficult because it always comes down to opinions. But however, that would help it. Who's going to do that? I don't know.
Well, the problem with that, Theo, is that an ex-player... It was embarrassing.
That's why I stopped playing.
The problem with an ex-player is, of course...
It's one reason I stopped.
What, because of VAR?
As well. Yeah. I mean, to be fair, it might have helped me with a few goals. It also would have taken quite a few goals off
it would have taken 23% of my goals away, Theo, so I'm completely glad I wasn't there.
So it's ruined the game.
Also,
it's the emotion.
No, you're right. I agree with you. It's ruined the game. And also, you're right. Like, how funny is it when a referee speaks? I just think it's hilarious. Like, I can't, like, just hearing their little voices. Like, no one's ever heard them. Like,
Rebecca, I feel like it's ChatGPT. I feel like it's AI.
Yes.
They come out and I'm like,
By the way, AI as a referee might be better. Like, he should just check it every time he makes a decision. Right.
That would be epic.
Way better.
They got a hard job.
Oh, stop it, Theo. They're professionals.
There it is. Sorry.
You can't have an ex-pro, by the way, do it, which I thought was the answer,
No.
but I don't think you can, because of course they used to play for whoever and they used to live here, and that means they hate you. The whole thing becomes a mess.
And
They just need
90% of
to
us don't
understand
know
the
the
game.
rules or the laws of the game, Rebecca. We can't do that.
Correct.
That's true.
Correct. Like the free kick for Crystal Palace. Nobody knew that was a situation a couple of weeks ago. All right, Taylor, we are full of respect for you because you came on a red-eye flight from Seattle to Boston after the Leagues Cup final yesterday. Seattle last night beating Inter Miami by 3-0. There are two things come out of this game. One is what Brian Schmetzer said afterwards. He said, I'm going to shut that down, talking to a reporter, because that, which I'm about to explain, shouldn't be the story. The story of the game is not what happened after the game. Well, what happened after the game, unfortunately, is now the story of the game. And that is the brawl. You were there, and the spitting from Luis Suarez. So we will touch on Seattle, unless you want to touch on them first. But I'm afraid we've got to get to the meat of this. What on earth are Inter Miami doing?
No clue. No clue. As classless of a situation I've ever experienced. And you look at those Busquets, Alba, Messi, DePaul, Suarez, 5 of the most established players in their own right, one of them being the greatest of all time in Lionel Messi. They were frustrated because Seattle outplayed them. They were frustrated because in a rarity of a sight, maybe 5 times in his 20-year-plus career, does Messi miss a sitter, and he missed it. And then his teammate Allende misses a breakaway. So frustration settled in. But Theo, the final whistle blows. And right before the final whistle, I'm sitting 50-yard line right in the middle, got great view. I can see this little murking because now it's 3-0, game's over, celebration, 70,000, all celebrating for what Seattle's done. I can see Suarez kind of murk and kind of slide over and kind of all of a sudden start kind of taking a beeline right at the 20-year-old Mexican international Obed Vargas. And Obed Vargas is now, he's turned down $10 million offer from Tigres, and there's an offer coming in the next probably a couple of weeks, if not next window, from clubs in Europe. Why do I tell you that? He was brilliant on the day. He was in Messi's right pocket the entire day, little nicks here and there, just kind of always making sure he felt him. Suarez runs over, final whistle, gets him in a headlock. On the side of the Miami bench, Rebecca, I see 3 subs that didn't even play. They sprint out, and in the blink of an eye, you've got a full-on brawl. And you've got a brawl that I've never seen before, ever. You see a punch thrown from Suarez and Busquets, that connects, but then the coaches are involved and everyone's involved. And guess what happens? I was there, Rebecca, in Brazil in 2014 when he bit Chiellini, and I see him head back and spit right into this 72-year-old security guard administrator for Seattle. He's been there for, I think, if I'm not mistaken, even before the MLS days. And I was speechless because I'll tell you right now, you can punch me all you want. You spit on me, I'm out. I'm out. And Theo, I have no idea what they're going to do, but there's only 6 games left in the regular season. And so, Rebecca, this could be the last competitive game for Luis Suarez. And in a weird way, it's kind of fitting. I mean, you think of his career, he's arguably the best 9 of his generation. We could have an entire podcast about that, but we could also do an entire podcast about the off-the-field stuff that is completely insane. He spit, and it literally, slow motion on TV, hits the guy right in the face. How do you cut? What do I say to that? Other than get out of here. So honestly, Rebecca, I took the red eye, I came back. My phone's been blown up on how did you not, with a microphone in your hand, for anyone that knows me, how did I not completely lose my you-know-what? And because it's like the 6th or 7th time he's done something stupid. This is ridiculous. Yeah. It's degrading.
I mean, was Messi at this time, I'm assuming no one really came at Messi. He's probably stood away from it all, wasn't he, as well, wasn't he? Because that's the class of the difference. But it doesn't surprise me, but it is disgusting. And as well, we all have a role models. I had role models coming through, and you don't want to see that. You don't witness that. You don't even. That's just sickening. And it's sad. It's sad because, like you say, we could do a whole podcast on Luis Suarez, of course, but I've no words because I just have got no time for people like that, because those people shouldn't be involved in football. And you're right, that would be what we remember him for. It's a bit like Zidane. The last time I remember him was the headbutt. It's one memory that comes to me straight away. Shouldn't be my memory at all of one of the world's best footballers, but it sits with me. You imagine now how many young players in America and Europe, who across the whole world, will remember Luis Suarez spit. That will be their last memory of him, and that's sad. But he's put this on himself. It's on him, no one else. And as well, it just, like you said, it takes everything away, and it's about
It takes
him.
everything away. He scored, 500 some odd professional goals. The only thing I think of, he bit a defender in the World Cup.
Yeah.
He used his hand in the other World Cup to ultimately, in which, by the way, that's completely fine, in my opinion, because that's within the game, and he made a decision for a red card. And then he spits in a pink jersey defending Messi on a 72-year-old guy. Rebecca, it's not even a player.
I know.
And as well, I don't want to go into it, but obviously the Everest side of things as well, all of that is just
the
unacceptable.
T-shirts, the whole thing, and also I do think, final point, Inter Miami have to take a look at themselves as well as a club, because right now they've got a major PR problem. Finally today, off the back of Teagate, as we're now calling it, which is actually basically my entire existence in America, this question comes in to us from Justin Trice on YouTube. Hi, Rebecca. We understand that you think the way Americans make tea is an abomination. Correct. What is something Americans get right when it comes to food or drinks where Brits just do it wrong? Now, genuinely, I thought a long time about this, right? And I'm going to have to ask Taylor, because I'm not sure there's many things.
Wait a minute. Hang on a minute. How long you been living here?
You come to me. That's fine. I've been here for 12 and a half years. So if you want, if you tell me something that you think you guys do better, I'm going to, then fine, then I'll agree. But I can't think of anything. Like, everything beans on toast is amazing. You guys don't do that. You guys, something I really struggle with in America is
hold on. What did Theo say?
Do you do like a Sunday roast at a pub?
No, they don't. They don't do a Sunday roast. They just don't do one, Theo. So what do you guys do?
She's also
Taylor,
in Northern California. Theo, in Boston, we do Sunday roast. No,
but you don't do Yorkshire pudding. It's not proper roast potatoes.
No, we don't, and that's why I still live here, because if we did, I wouldn't live here. You know what I mean? And the beans and toast, I've done it many a times. It's way overrated. Okay, here's one for it. I'm gonna throw a couple out here because I love the question. The question.
Please.
You guys don't do drive-thrus the way we do.
That's nothing to be proud of. I mean,
yes, it is. It absolutely is. What if you're in a rush? Hang on a minute.
No.
What if you want your proper English tea from Starbucks and you can't get there and sit in line and mingle with your lovely friends for 4 hours because you need to get to the soccer mom next event? No. Yes, drive-through works great.
No, this is what drives me nuts, right?
We have drive-through.
I go Chick-fil-A with my little boy.
I know
we do have drive-through.
I know you do.
You're right, okay? But can we please just accept that
not very well,
the drive-through queues, the drive-through lines in America are so long. And here I just go into the car park, go in, get my food, come out again. I'm like, why are you sitting in I'll never understand it. If there is a queue in the drive-through, why do you join it? Don't get it.
I think we do cold beer better than you guys. We like our beer cold, not lukewarm the way you guys have your pints.
I have heard English warm beer. Is that right, Theo?
Oh yeah, look at you two. I don't do beer. My body's a temple. Obviously, mine's not. Obviously, mine's not. I just took a red eye to come back and talk to you losers for 45 minutes.
What about? I know it's not food. It's not really food related either. But what about the grids? The grid system. I think that's quite good.
Stay on the question.
You like the grid system?
Stay on the question. Are you talking about cities?
Yeah, I quite like the grid.
Are we really doing architecture right now?
That's Theo, I'm not sure it is better. There's no nooks and crannies. Everything's called 7th Street, 8th Street. I want it to be called, Magnolia Place. I don't want 1 to 10. Now, I'm coming across as I don't love America.
Rebecca, you're a Bostonian. You're a Bostonian.
I'm a citizen. I love it. But I really genuinely I'm struggling. So if anybody out there can think of some food or drink that America does better.
The question is food. I think we do sandwiches better than you. I think the variety of sandwiches that we have, the different ways, the fact that you think hot dog's a sandwich actually makes my argument for me a lot easier. It's not a sausage sandwich. I think we do variety better than you guys. I agree. That's why it's great. That's right. It's great. Body's a temple.
This weekend I did a commercial on NBC for Jimmy John's, and I couldn't believe there's like no bread. It's just filling. I can't. It just makes me feel ill. I like a very thin cucumber sandwich. Okay, and on that note, everybody.
Said nobody in America.
I want to know, because everyone is laughing, because apparently, as well as bad teeth, everyone in England eats bad food because we don't have our own cuisine. That's what everyone told me when I moved here. So I know Theo's got great teeth, though. To be fair, thank you for showing us your teeth. Absolutely brilliant. That is the best way to finish a podcast, looking at Theo Walcott's teeth. If you've got comments, concerns, questions, madness, please send them in to us here at It's Cool Soccer, because we love to pick out a question a week and answer your question and have raging debates about all the important things in the world. We're going to be back next week for a brand new episode next Tuesday. We're going to discuss, as always, all the big soccer stories that are taking place over the international break, and of course diving into that mailbag as well. So to remember, subscribe, leave comments. It really helps people to find the show on YouTube, Spotify and Apple Podcasts, because we can only repost on Instagram so much, everybody. Bye, boys.
I'll put my teeth back in now.
Put your teeth back in, Theo. Literally putting in his Invisalign back in.
Taylor, basically, because I change it every week, I always have a lisp on the first day or two.
Yeah, but you know what? Because of your accent, everyone would go, oh, well, listen to it. It's so elegant. And I'd be like, what the fuck? He's got a lisp.
I know. Do you think Theo Walcott is the most elegant footballer?
As in playing, or
as a player as well. Obviously, as a player, incredibly elegant. But like as a vote, like his voice, I think that there has ever been. Him and Graham Lasso.
But this podcast, Theo, you're next to Stifler, so it kind of makes it just stick out a little bit more.
Stifler. As long as that doesn't make me Stifler's mum, I'm happy.